You know that feeling when you read something so vivid you can practically taste it, smell it, and see it playing out right in front of you? Well, that's the magic of descriptive writing. But here's the secret. It's not magic at all. It's a skill. And in this explainer, we're going to break down the art of painting with words and turn it into a concrete technique that you can absolutely master. So let's start with the big question, the one every single writer grapples with. How do you take an image that's crystal clear in your head and plant it directly into your reader's imagination? How do you make them actually feel a scene instead of just, reading a bunch of words about it? Okay, this comparison gets right to the heart of it. On the left, you've got a simple statement. I was standing in the empty room. Your brain gets the information, and that's about it. But look at the right. That's not a statement. That's an experience. You can almost feel the dust in the air, see the light streaming through those broken windows. This is the difference. Descriptive writing doesn't just tell you something, it transports you somewhere. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dive into this idea of painting with words. Then we'll open up the writer's toolkit to look at the essential techniques. After that, we're going to get really practical and go inside the examiner's mind, focusing specifically on the Cambridge marking criteria. Then we'll use that insight to analyze a top-scoring response. And finally, we'll put it all together in your blueprint for success. All right, Section 1, Painting with Words. I absolutely love this metaphor because it's just so perfect. Really think about it. The blank page is your canvas, and your words become this incredible palette of colors you get to use to create a masterpiece. While other kinds of writing want to inform you or persuade you, descriptive writing has this really unique goal. It just wants to paint a picture. It's all about using imagery and very specific details to create an emotional response. Because when a reader starts to feel what you're describing, that's when your writing becomes truly unforgettable. So, how do we actually do this? Well, that brings us right to Section 2, the Writer's Toolkit. It's time to open it up and see what essential tools we have for painting with words. And here they are, laid out on our painter's palette. You've got the lens, which is the main feeling or mood you want to create. Then you have the colors. Those are your sensory details. The brushes are your fun tools, like figurative language and strong word choices. And finally, the frame, which is just making sure everything is organized. Getting a handle on these 4 elements is absolutely key. Let's dive a little deeper into the colors, the senses. Now, you don't need to use all 5 at once. In fact, please don't. That can be really overwhelming. But skillfully weaving in what something looks like, what it sounds like, or even what it smells like, that's what makes a scene feel real. And, as the source material points out, sight and sound are usually your heavy hitters for really pulling a reader in. And now for our brushes. It's so easy to focus on adjectives, but powerful verbs are the real engine of your sentences. Instead of saying someone ran, did they sprint, flee, or maybe they stormed off? Instead of said, did they mutter, whisper, or roar? A single really well-chosen verb can completely change the energy of a sentence and create so much action and feeling. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually translate into getting a good grade? That is exactly what Section 3 is about, getting inside the examiner's head. We're going to look at how these tools are actually judged, specifically in a Cambridge IGCSE exam, to understand what they are really looking for. This quote from an examiner's report is pure gold. It tells you everything. They aren't just ticking off boxes. They are looking for intentional, skillful writing from the very first sentence. Immediately uses a descriptive feature. That tells you your opening line has to do some heavy lifting. It has to establish a mood and show them you know what you're doing right from the get-go. Which brings us to Section 4, where we get to see it all in action. We're going to deconstruct a real high-scoring essay line by line to see exactly what choices this student made that totally wowed the examiner. Just look at this opening. The word choices are so specific, skeletal, gloomy, velvety. And what does the examiner say? They directly credit these words with establishing a quiet and almost eerie atmosphere. This isn't an accident. It is a deliberate, powerful choice of language to create a very specific mood from the very first sentence. Now, let's see how the student handles sensory details. They don't just say there were birds, they write about the lively conversations of the birds. And the examiner calls this out specifically, praising the use of auditory imagery. By adding sound, the writer makes this park feel so much more real and alive. It jumps off the page.
And here is where we see the real power of figurative language, one of our favorite brushes. The student doesn't just say the sky was colorful. No, they create this amazing simile of a fatigued artist violently dabbing colors. It's so creative. And of course, the examiner highlights it, noting how it adds to the candidate's toolkit. This kind of original, evocative detail is what earns top marks.
Okay, so after seeing exactly what works, let's boil this all down into an action plan for you in Section 5, your blueprint for success. What are the biggest lessons we've learned, and what are the common mistakes you should absolutely avoid? These common pitfalls come straight from examiner reports on essays that didn't score so well. So listen up. The biggest warnings are: don't just dump a ton of adjectives on the page and overwhelm the reader. Avoid cliches at all costs and aim for something fresh. And of course, the technical stuff matters. Watch your tenses, make sure your descriptions are clear, and vary your vocabulary. So let's bring it all together. The main takeaway is this: great descriptive writing isn't just about listing pretty words. It's a deliberate, skillful weave. You hook the reader with a sharp sensory detail, you use powerful words to build a specific mood, and you tie it all together with a clear purpose. See, it really isn't magic, it's a craft. We've gone from the blank canvas to the toolkit to analyzing a masterclass performance. You officially have the blueprint. So the only real question left is, what kind of masterpiece are you going to create?